Hey, this is Dorleen, and today I'm working on a one-page layout using this Comic Heroes paper pad. I know I purchased that from Michael's, and it's been years. I'm also working with a sketch from Sketch and Scrap, which I will have their link down below. I cut my photos in different sizes. I thought that would add interest to the page. And what I did was I put the largest to smallest in clockwise order. So I'm just going through the pad, and I don't know if you do this, but when I use when I use pieces from other projects, I'll have scrap sizes. So I also keep those with the pads in like a larger envelope. So that kind of helps me when I'm working on another layout to use the scraps when I can, and also keeps all the papers coordinated so I don't have to dig for them in my scrap pile. So that's just a little tip. What I'm doing, like I said, is I'm just kind of fussing around trying to figure out what colors I want with the pictures. So originally I was only going to use that red and blue papers that I have on that strip, but after cutting out the stars and that yellow, which was also from the paper pad, I realized it needed a little bit more interest than just those, a red and blue layout. So the stars, I'm again just fiddling around trying to figure out where I'm going to put those. And I did the same thing. When I cut my stars using my Cricut, and they're just from the basic shapes, I cut 3 different size stars. And so again, I did the star sizes clockwise order as well. So I'm fiddling around with that. There is a cluster of paper down in that right hand corner, and I'm just messing around with different paper scraps to do that, so I don't have to cut down any big 12 by 12 papers. Now, believe me, if I would have loved one of them and decided to do that, I would have. But like I said, if I can use a scrap, I will try to use a scrap. For more details on what I used and close-ups, you can go to my blog, which is www.craftsinthecommandscenter.blogspot.com. I'll also have that down below. Excuse me. And also on Instagram, I'll post pictures every so often, and I'll put my Instagram address down below as well. If you're not already a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button below, and that way you can be notified of any upcoming videos. I try to post at least one video a week. That comic strip square, I don't know what they're actually called, over there in the bottom right, I knew I had to incorporate at least one of those with that title, because that is the place for the title. I just wasn't really exactly sure what I was going to do for the title, but I just think it's so cute, and I wanted to make sure I added that there. So here you can see me decide to use the smaller stars on that bottom left-hand photo section. So I think is interesting about the sketches, we keep hearing all this, rules of 3, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's 3 photos. Yeah, there's 3 different places to embellish. But when you look at this, there really is a 4th one, but I still think the layout turned out really super cute. I really like this sketch. And I like using sketches because sometimes when you see your photos, you're still not really 100% sure where your page is going. And when you're starting from scratch, that could take, literally hours. And if you're a scrapbooker, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But when you have a sketch, it just gives you some place to start. And one thing with sketches is you don't necessarily have to follow it exactly. You can just be inspired by it. So like I said, I fussied around with it. I did like what this is looking like. So you saw my little thumbs up. And now I'm going to adhere everything. So as you know by my videos, I don't film when I'm putting all my adhesive down and adhering all the pieces down, because that just seems like a lot of wasted time. But if you do have any questions, please leave me a comment and I will answer them. So I'm using my Tombow double-sided tape runner, which I do a lot, especially when I have the small elements. And I don't mat the papers exact. I want them a little off-centered and quirky, because I think this layout is just really fun. And it's funny because once I started laying them down, you can see me putting a fishtail on those little banner strips, or making them into banners, which I didn't intend to do until I started adhering them together. So I do that with all 3 photo sections, and even on the title strips. If you're not sure how to do a fishtail banner, of course people can use punches, this and that, but basically you just put a little snip up the eyeball where the center of that strip is, and then you cut both ends of the corners up to that cut strip. And you'll see me do it later. Unfortunately, most of the time I'm doing it off camera. Another thing you'll notice is I didn't realize I was going to do it until I started putting them down, is I added those little border lines in the stars. I really think that makes them stand out a little bit. The funny thing with that little star right there, I wasn't sure what the placement, but then it dropped. And so I'm like, okay, it's going there. So that did kind of help me a little bit. So there I am doing another fishtail, and that one you can see a little bit more. But I basically do the same thing to all four sections really. That little, like you saw me draw a little scribble on those black lines. I do that a lot because when I'm putting the lines in, I'm not a perfectionist, so I just go for it and I draw it. But when you add that little scribble, it almost seems like a stitched area, or at least that's what it reminds me of. But if you do happen to make a really bad mistake, and you'll see me do one later, when you just add a little scribble there, it makes it look more intentional. So I like doing that way. On the bottom there, you see me, I put the adhesive on that red polka dot strip, and then I realized that I did want that the right side to be flush to the right edge, so that's why I held on to it a little bit more until I actually placed down that the rest of that bundle. And I'm not really sure what I'm doing for my title, but I knew I wanted something about Wonder Woman or being wonderful. So you'll see me with my pen again, and I write the word wonder in there. Oh, I got ahead of myself. We'll talk about that. When I was putting this down, I decided to put those border lines around all that yellow paper because I think it just stands out a little bit. And then you can see right there, that's where I'd had the oops. Part of it went down actually on the base page. So I just did an extra big loopy scribble thing right there. So here's where I'm writing the word wonder. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. And I do this a lot. I just kind of go for it. I'm not a perfectionist, so I don't measure this and that. But you can tell as I was writing wonder, I started off really kind of big. And then I'm like, oh, crap, I don't know if I'm going to have enough room. I definitely did not have enough room for wonderful. So that's why I put the full on the bottom. But I grab another pen and I darken the left side of every letter just to give it a little bit of interest. And I do that for the entire word. And then you'll see me pull up a white pen in a minute, which you'll see over on the left that I have, 3 white pens over there. One I'm actually using, none of those had any ink in it. And even the one I use barely has any. I don't know why I keep them. I store them upside down thinking the ink's going to flow all the way to the bottom. So either they get stopped up or there really just is no ink in there. So I really just need to toss them and buy myself a new one so I know when I actually do have white ink in those pens, they'll actually work. I'm just going over the letters just to make them stand out a little bit, and really kind of stalling because I don't know what I'm doing with it. I do know I need to write something in those bubbles because that is the purpose of those comic strips. So, isn't it wonderful is kind of when I start, but then I think, well, wait, there's that other bubble on the left. How is, why is it wonderful? Why is the answer, isn't it wonderful? So then I looked at the photos and, I just write a little villains and superheroes all together with a question mark. Isn't it wonderful? So anyhow, it works for me. So I really like this layout. Matter of fact, it became one of my favorites. I wasn't sure about the sketch, but I really do love it. So I hope you do too. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up. Again, hit the subscribe button below so you can and the notification button or bell if you'd like to be notified of any new videos. I mentioned before, I don't normally do a lot of mixed media type messy stuff with my scrapbooks and or scrapbook layouts. But I felt like this needed a little something. I will do a little splatter here and there, and I probably splatter more than anything. But this is a handmade, watered down acrylic paint, basically. And it does get, I want to say bunched up, but I know that's not the word. So you saw my mistake over there, but it wasn't that big a mistake. I was able to correct it, but it still gave a little bit of a, I don't know, fuzz, I guess. But that's it. I hope you like it. I absolutely love it. This may be one of my favorite layouts I've ever done, to be honest with you. And I love that picture that I took of my granddaughter. I swear that portrait mode on your iPhone is amazing. So I hope you like it too. And see you later. Bye.